Hi, here's an introduction to the readings for Tuesday, November 11th. We'll be reading and discussing one of my favorite thinkers on climate change, Suzanne Mosher, and one of her PhD students from Stanford, Carol Berzonsky. This chapter is 16 and a half pages. Some of it's kind of dense, so let me give you a bit of a background to it and ask you some questions that I hope you'll be able to answer as you read it. You know, it's never been easy to communicate about climate change, and now as climate change has become more than an abstract matter of science, but a lived reality, it's a good time to ask how we might more effectively communicate about this topic, a topic that many people find very threatening. Mosher and Brzezinski start off by recognizing a significant challenge: the growing politicalization of science and ideological polarization in the U.S. around climate change. I mean, people are just really at each other on this topic. And they ask, are there openings for meaningful and constructive communication among people who differ on this topic? Here are some questions I'd like you to consider as you read the chapter. First of all, how would you summarize American attitudes on climate change? What does the social science research tell us that Americans actually believe? Secondly, what's this notion of a missing middle? Who are these folks? Do they really exist? How do the authors suggest that the missing middle might be better engaged in the discussion? Now, what's this notion of a continuum or a discourse continuum? Isn't that an awful name, a discourse continuum? But in spite of the awful name, does the concept make sense to you? Can it be helpful? What is it? Can you be able to describe the discourse continuum? And finally, the authors suggest a way forward. They talk about dialogue. Dialogue, really? Is dialogue a way to move forward and solve some of the problems that we're facing with respect to climate change? Why would people who disagree at this intense level actually participate in a dialogue in this topic? So those are the questions that I'd like you to answer, or be able to answer as you read this chapter. It's 16 and a half pages. I think you can kind of power through it, especially with these questions in your mind before you do the reading. And I look forward to talking with you about this on Tuesday. Bye.